The shooting injured former U.S. President Donald Trump. Former U.S. President Donald Trump was injured on July 13 after a shooting at his campaign rally in Pennsylvania. The incident occurred shortly after he stepped onto the stage to begin his speech to the crowd of supporters. After hearing a loud bang, Trump crouched down to the ground and was protected by agents. He was helped up by security staff and was bleeding on ear. He was then taken away from the scene by security staff. According to media reports, at least 8 gunshots rang out. When Mr. Trump had just begun his speech to the crowd of supporters at the Villa, Mr. Trump's spokesman told Chanel that Mr. Trump was taken to the emergency room at a local hospital. The Secret Service also confirmed in the statement. A post on social network meanwhile, The Washington Post quoted Boutler County District Attorney Richard Goldeninger as saying that Donald Trump was grazed by a bullet but is still safe. President Trump at Boutler was killed. The danger was controlled immediately after former President Donald Trump left the campaign rally in Boulder City, Pennsylvania because of the shooting. Officials in the US and around the world strongly condemned the attacker. An official said at least one person was killed and the suspected shooter was dead. According to Mr. Trump's campaign, Mr. Trump is currently stable and being treated at a medical facility. Former President Trump announced on social media that he was shot in the ear at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania. Mr. Cho said, "I had a bullet go through the upper part of my right ear. I immediately knew something was wrong when I heard the hiss of a gunshot and immediately felt the bullet penetrating strongly through my skin." Mr. Trump also thanked the Secret Service agents and sent his condolences after one person was killed and one person was seriously injured while attending his campaign event. "It is unbelievable that such an act could take place in our country," Mr. Trump wrote on social networks. Mr. Trump's spokesman said the former president is fine and is being examined at a medical facility. Mr. Donald Trump's locality. Mr. Donald Trump's son told ABC News that Mr. Trump is still in good spirits while being monitored for health and added that his father will never stop. Israeli Prime Minister Biden said on social network X that he was shocked to hear that Mr. Trump was attacked and wished Mr. Trump safety and a quick recovery. Reacting after the incident, former US President Barack Obama emphasized that political violence cannot exist in America and everyone felt relieved to hear that Mr. Trump was okay. According to The Hill, former Vice President Mike Pence also wrote on X that he prayed for Mr. Trump's safety. The majority leader in the US Senate, Just Streamer, wrote on politics is not allowed in our country. House Speaker Mike Johnson said he prayed for former President Trump and all those attending the campaign rally in Pennsylvania and thanked the law enforcement forces who responded to his scene. Has been informed of the situation by law enforcement agencies and is continuing to monitor developments. Mr. Johnson said that a terrible act of political violence at a peaceful rally cannot be accepted in America and should be strongly condemned. Pennsylvania governor said in a statement that violence against any political party or political leader is completely unacceptable and has no place in Pennsylvania or America. President Biden hopes to talk to Mr. Trump soon after the shooting at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania, USA on July 13 that injured former President Donald Trump. President Joe Biden said he was happy for him. Trump is still safe. Speaking at the Royal Board Bitch about 2 hours after the shooting, Mr. Biden said there is no place for this type of violence in America. Mr. Biden said the shooting was terrible and hoped to talk to him soon. Mr. Trump. President Biden was attending Mass at St. Emwood Church when the shooting happened. According to CNN, the shooting seemed to heat up American politics before the November election. Mr. Biden took advantage of this opportunity to call for the country to unite, emphasizing that America cannot allow this to happen. According to law enforcement officials, the shooting is being investigated as an attempt to assassinate a spokesman. The former president is in good condition and being treated at a medical facility. Shooting violation and at least one person attending the campaign was killed. The shooting at Mr. Trump's campaign was a shocking turning point in a tense election season for both candidates, Democratic and Republican Party. After the shooting, Mr. Biden said that First Lady Jen and I are grateful to the Secret Service for taking Mr. Trump to a safe place. This type of violence cannot be accepted in America. America must unite to condemn it immediately. After the incident, Mr. Biden's campaign officials gathered and decided to take down all television ads and limit their public campaign messages. Mr. Biden, including Julia Allow Reddy Gill and Jen Omei Dilland, have also urged staff not to make any comments on social networks or in public after the shooting. According to a senior administration official, the mood inside the White House was shock when hearing about the US election shooting. The person who just defeated Mr. Trump was AI. Political activist Jay Oliver was nominated by the Liberal Party as a candidate. presidential candidate for the November election, American media recently reported that Mr. Oliver from Georgia defeated former President Donald Trump and independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to win the above nomination. In his victory speech, Mr. Olympic said he hopes to be an alternative to the current candidates in the race and the 2024 White House. Mr. Oliver B.A. campaigned to represent Georgia's 5th congressional district in 2020 to 2022. He participated in the Senate race and won about 2% of the vote. According to Politico, Mr. Olympia is on the traditional side of the Liberal Party for supporting gun rights immigration reform, reducing federal spending and eliminating federally backed student loans, and Mr. Trump and Mr. Kennedy were both nominated at the Libertarian Party convention but did not win in a move considered unusual for a major party candidate. Mr. Trump spoke at the Libertarian Party National Convention last week where he was booed and criticized for being a no-no qualified for nomination because of failure to submit required documents to the Liberal Party. Libertarian candidates and other small parties often receive a very small percentage of the vote, but in a tight presidential race this number of votes can play an important role, recent polls show. There is almost no difference in support for Mr. Trump and current President Joe Biden, while there is almost no difference in developments related to former President Donald Trump's election campaign. $8 million in less than 7 hours after the historic verdict on May 30th, declaring former President Trump guilty of all 34 felony counts related to allegations of falsifying business records to hide the hush money paid to an adult film star before the 2016 U.S. presidential election, the election that made Mr. Trump the leader of the United States. Prosecutors accused Mr. Trump of engaging in a conspiracy to undermine the integrity of the 2016 election and taking actions to conceal payments to Stormy Daniels so the star would not reveal his relationship with Mr. Trump in a hotel room in Lakatahu in 2006. In a recent press conference, senior campaign advisor Chris LaCivita and Sushi Wiles said nearly 30% of donors were new to the donation site. Mr. Trump's windows. These two advisors reiterated Mr. Trump's post-trial statement that the real verdict will come on Election Day November 5th when Mr. Trump faces current President Joe Biden. Mr. Trump is expected to be officially nominated as his candidate. Republican presidential candidate days after his sentencing hearing scheduled for July 11th. He will not be detained before the court sentences him. He is the first former U.S. president and likely the first candidate of a major party to be convicted of a criminal offense. Mr. Trump's campaign told NBC News that its latest fundraising figures only include contributions sent in less than 7 hours from the time he was found guilty to midnight on May 31st. In the United States, the huge amount of money mentioned above came less than 2 weeks after Mr. Trump's campaign for the first time in 2024 reported a higher monthly fundraising amount than Mr. Biden's campaign. The recent information has closed our International Information Update program today. Don't forget to press the bell. Follow and accompany us at all times to update the latest information. Best regards and see you again.